Picture this. You're in a strange place, it's late at night, your stomach is growling, and you're down to your last few dollars. You walk into a convenience store, pick up a small, affordable packet, pour in some boiling water, and just 3 minutes later, a hot meal appears. This convenience is so commonplace today that we rarely stop to ask, how did a block of dry, stiff noodles become a global culinary revolution? Why did the Japanese public vote this as their greatest invention of the 20th century, surpassing even the Walkman or the Shinkansen bullet train? The answer doesn't lie in a multi-million-dollar laboratory. It began in a tiny weathered wooden shack and with a man who had lost almost everything at the age of 48. This is the story of Momofuku Ando and the journey of turning a hunger relief food into a global empire that consumes over 100 billion servings every year. To understand the birth of instant noodles, we must travel back to Japan in 1945. It was a nation in ruins following the devastation of World War II. The city of Osaka, where Momofuku Ando lived, was nothing but rubble. Food was so scarce that people stood in endless lines in the freezing winter night just to buy a bowl of hot ramen from street carts. Witnessing these gaunt figures shivering from cold and hunger, a thought burned into Ando's mind. Peace will come to the world when people have enough to eat. At that time, the Japanese government encouraged people to eat bread made from wheat flour provided by US aid, but Ando felt something was wrong. The Japanese had a deep cultural connection to noodles. Why force them to eat bread? He proposed to the Ministry of Agriculture that they use the flour to make noodles instead. The response he received was dismissive. Noodles are too difficult to mass produce and store long term. That rejection didn't discourage Ando. It became the seed for a radical idea, to create a type of noodle that could be prepared instantly at home, anytime. But reality was far from a dream. It took over 10 years and a bankruptcy that left him with nothing before Ando finally began pursuing this idea. At age 48, in a tiny wooden shack measuring just 10 square meters in his backyard in Ikeda, Ando began his lonely quest. He set 5 strict criteria for his product. It had to be delicious, shelf-stable, quick to prepare, affordable, and absolutely safe. For an entire year, Ando slept only a few hours a night. He tested hundreds of different formulas to create the perfect noodle. The biggest challenge? How to dry the noodles so they remained shelf-stable but would soften instantly when hitting boiling water. He tried sun-drying and oven baking, but the results were always moldy or brittle. He reached a total dead end, until one day he watched his wife frying tempura in the kitchen. Ando noticed that when the batter hit the hot oil, the water inside evaporated instantly, creating tiny pores on the surface. A light bulb went off. Why not fry the noodles? He took seasoned noodles and dropped them into hot oil. The miracle happened. The heat forced the moisture out, creating microscopic tunnels. When boiling water was poured back in, it traveled through these holes, rehydrating the noodles in minutes. This flash frying method was born, laying the foundation for an entire industry. On August 25, 1958, the world's first instant noodle, chicken ramen, chicken-flavored noodles hit the market. Initially, people called it magic ramen. However, it wasn't cheap. A pack of instant noodles cost 6 times more than a bowl of fresh noodles at a shop. But the magic of just add water eventually broke all barriers. As Japanese women began entering the workforce in larger numbers, instant noodles became the savior of busy evenings. From a luxury item, it rapidly became a household staple. Success in Japan wasn't enough for Ando. He wanted to take instant noodles to the world. In 1966, during a market research trip to the United States, he noticed a massive cultural divide. Americans didn't use deep bowls and they didn't know how to use chopsticks. Instead, they broke the noodles into paper cups and ate them with forks. This observation sparked Ando's second revolution: cup noodles. It took 5 more years of research for the first cup noodle to debut in 1971. This wasn't just a change in packaging, it was an engineering marvel. Ando designed the noodles to be suspended in the middle of the cup so that boiling water could circulate evenly, cooking the noodles faster without them getting mushy at the bottom. The styrofoam cup acted as an insulator, keeping the meal hot while protecting the consumer's hands. Once again, the world marveled at his breakthrough thinking. Cup noodles turned a meal that required a stove into a mobile meal that could be eaten anywhere from offices to mountain peaks. From Japan, instant noodles began to conquer the world, but they did so in a very specific way, by localizing. In South Korea, it became the spicy shin ramyun, deeply integrated into the nation's food culture. In Vietnam, the legendary hao hao sour and spicy flavor became a staple for generations of students and workers. In Indonesia, Indomie's dry stir-fry flavors captured the hearts of consumers. Instant noodles are more than just food. They are an economic indicator. Economists often use instant noodle sales to measure a population's belt tightening. When the economy struggles, sales go up. But beyond that, instant noodles are the hero of every natural disaster, from earthquakes to tsunamis to pandemics, due to their long shelf life and instant energy. Of course, the journey hasn't been without its shadows. In recent years, as health consciousness has risen, instant noodles have faced criticism for high sodium levels, trans fats, and a lack of nutrients. But the industry isn't standing still. We are seeing the rise of non-fried noodles, whole grain varieties, vegetable-based noodles, and low-sodium seasonings. Remarkably, in 2005, shortly before his passing, Momofuku Ando fulfilled his final dream, creating Space Ram, an instant noodle that can be cooked and eaten in zero gravity for astronauts in outer space. Momofuku Ando passed away at the age of 96, and his secret to longevity, as he often joked, was eating instant noodles every day. Perhaps that was the ultimate testament to his life's work. From a wooden shack in a backyard to the vast reaches of outer space, instant noodles have traveled further than almost any other food in human history. They are a symbol of perseverance, of meticulous observation, and above all, of the compassion to solve world hunger. The next time you stand in front of a supermarket shelf with hundreds of different noodle varieties, remember that each small packet carries a breath of history, a story of bitter failures, and a fierce belief that, as long as there is enough to eat, the world will find peace. Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover the history of instant noodles. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the fascinating origins of everything else around us. But for now, maybe it's time to go make a bowl of noodles, don't you think?